Welcome to Profits in Practice. I'm your host, Sarah Webb, and I'm joined by my friend, Pam Hamby. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Last time we talked about multiple locations and clinics and all of those things. Today, I want to dive into in-office dispense. I know it's one of your favorite topics.
One of my favorite.
No, but really, give our audience a little bit about background about in-office dispense and why a clinic might even consider that.
So in a medical practice, you have typically just medical claims that you bill, doctor visits, procedures that doctors do in a medical practice. As therapies in our particular practice, allergy and immunology, have developed over time, they've really created a lot of biologic medications for really incredible therapies for
patients are getting way better outcome. I mean, there's so much more on the technology side of what's available to them.
All the stuff that you see on TV, all the commercials, all the injectables that you hear about. And so they've entered into the physician practice. And so what we've tried to do is figure out how the physicians can take advantage of servicing the patient and what that looks like and the nuances about how that really comes to be.
Okay. And so is in-office dispense governed at the state level? Like, is it different for your home state of Tennessee has X rules. My home state of Texas has a different set of rules. Is there something to consider at a state level for that?
Yes. Very much so. Some states prohibit in-office dispense. Really, the physicians are taking the role in an in-office dispense program as the pharmacist would take in a pharmacy. So they're being responsible for the dispensing to the patient to make sure that the patients are getting the medication that they've not only prescribed, but they're actually taking home with them or getting in the clinic.
Right. And in addition to the in-office dispense for some of these more expensive drugs, they can in-office dispense some of the routine things that patients would normally be getting, correct?
They can. Most of the time in our practice and our specialty, a lot of the focus is on the more advanced therapies.
Okay. It's still great for them to go to their regular retail pharmacy for some of the more routine things that they're doing.
Correct.
So what are the first steps in getting started in office dispense?
First, confirm that your state will allow it.
Okay.
Really, it is a matter of, it looks very similar, Sarah, to a pharmacy structure. You have to have a pharmacy software. And so like a physician will have a medical software to submit their medical claims to the insurance companies. In an in-office dispense program, they have to have a pharmacy software, just like you would have at your local independent pharmacy on the corner, or the larger
it's an EMR for
pharmacy,
right? But it's a whole separate system, and these two are very separate systems.
They are very separate system. Theoretically, I'm sure that you could, combine
not
some
you and
of
I.
that.
You and I are not going to be able to figure that out.
No, we are not going to be able to. But yes, separate and distinct differences. And really, the claim is going to the pharmacy benefits for the insurance company versus the medical benefit for a physician visit or anything a physician would do.
And you don't have to do as much of the prior author. Like, there's not what's the process on the pharmacy claim and running that?
So with a pharmacy claim, you still have to have the a prior authorization.
Okay.
It's a pharmacy prior authorization as opposed to a medical prior authorization. So the PA prior authorization still has to be in place.
Okay.
The process for adjudicating a pharmacy claim is much simpler. The benefit really is with that adjudication process is you're guaranteed the reimbursement that you see on the screen.
Okay.
And that is the win. Unlike on the medical side of things, you get the prior authorization, you submit the claim to the insurance company, and you hope that within 15 to 30 days, maybe 45, you get the amount of money that you're expecting. In the pharmacy world, it's very quick and it's very clean. And that's the beauty of it. You know exactly what you're going to be paid.
And so when the screen pops up and it's not a good price, right? Or it's not economically viable for you, then do you default back into working through a different process and say the pharmacy, this is not, for whatever reason, this drug on this process is not going to work. Let's go back and do something else. But like, right then what your margin is going to be on that.
Correct. And, you have to step back and think about that. Is it an option to do a medical claim for that patient? Some payers will allow you to do that. You have the flexibility of doing one or the other. And sometimes it may just be a situation where you just refer that patient out.
Yeah. But you have the information. I think what you're kind of trying to hit home is like, you have that information clearly before you're doing it, instead of kind of the medical process where it's afterwards.
Exactly.
And what's the timing on payment for pharmacy claims? I've heard it's like very quick. Like for me as an accountant, I'm always helping practices think about their cash flow and forecasting.
Right.
And the pharmacy piece seems to be happening very, very quickly.
Yes. We usually see about 14 to 21 days for payment.
Okay. That's got quite a bit of turnaround.
Yes.
What are some things that you needed to do to operationalize in-office dispense? Like, how did you go about training your staff and like helping them understand this? Because you've got to do a little bit of staff, but then one step further, are there conversations that you're having with your patients on like how you're maximizing their benefits?
Absolutely. And what we've learned through the process is, first of all, as we talked about in another episode, the whole issue of communication.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a totally different industry for people who have worked their entire careers, in most cases, in the medical space. So the concept of pharmacy and pharmacy claim and how that looks like and just those nuances, it is very different for a medical staff.
Are they resistant?
No.
Okay.
It's just new. It's just different. So communication is really key where that's concerned. In regards to the patient is always much more open to allowing the physician that's taking care of them, who's diagnosed them, who they really trust, and the staff that they're talking to when they come in for the visit to take care of them from beginning to end. So it really, we haven't had a lot of any resistance.
But do you
whatsoever.
have to explain, or do you spend time explaining, like, we're going to do this as a pharmacy claim versus like, especially when you're considering, the donut hole and some of those nuances?
It does require a little bit more of an explanation. I mean, we make sure that our patients understand that they don't have to get their drug through us. I mean, that's an important step, right? That's, again, going back to communication. So we let them know that we are able to service them, and their out-of-pocket cost would not be any different if we service them or if another pharmacy serviced them. The out-of-pocket cost is always a conversation. And so you just have to work with the patient as best you can through various different programs, financial hardship, whatever may be an option.
Okay. And when you were first testing this and organizing this in your office, so you've kind of worked through some change management of like, hey, team, we're going to work on this. Maybe did you identify one patient? Like, we're going to try one patient, one drug, one benefit? Or were you like, we're doing it all tomorrow. On Monday, we are doing in-office dispense.
So if you're in the space of medical injectables and infusion medications, you know what you're having to refer out.
Okay.
So we started there. What are we not able to do through the physician practice, through the medical benefit of things that we're having to refer out to specialty pharmacies?
Okay.
So that was our first group of patients.
Yeah, that makes sense. What can I bring back in to continue to serve my patients that maybe they were being served somewhere else?
Exactly. And the key to that really is the physician practice has the burden of doing all the work for the prior authorization.
They do.
And it really becomes that. It's not a burden getting the patient good therapy. What the burden is the effort that it takes working with the insurance companies to get the approval for the patient to get the therapy.
And then potentially working through the denial and the paper.
Yes. And, I'm not really sure how to articulate this, but the process of getting a pharmacy PA just seems a little easier and cleaner. It's than a medical PA sometimes. We've just experienced that and felt like that was a,
maybe they have more designed system. I mean, I have no idea.
Yeah, but it just feels that way.
It's new and exciting. So sometimes it's like, okay, this is working. This is success. Mm-hmm. So on the patients that were being served out and you're bringing those patients back in, I mean, would you say, is it 80% success rate? I mean, like, what does that look like as you're building more of and I don't need the exact number, but like, were you able to capture most of those?
All of them.
All of them. 100%.
It's really crazy because when you call a patient and you let them know that you have this service available now.
Yeah.
We usually start the conversation with, Dr. fill in the blank, ask me to call you to let you know that he can still service. I mean, he can start servicing you for your
I would want my
therapy.
own doctor. I love my doctors.
It's a slam dunk.
Okay.
It really is. It's the easiest conversation ever because the alternative is talking to someone from a 1-800 number who, may
they don't know who I am.
They don't really know who the patient is. There's no really vested interest.
And how have you seen this play out financially? Like, are you tracking, I'm putting on my CPA hat, are you tracking in-office dispense as its own little division and like can see it separate from some of the other things that you're doing on a revenue stream basis?
Absolutely. So having the two systems, two unique systems allow you to do that. So we have all the way from a separate bank account for this pharmacy, for the pharmacy dollars to go into. We do our purchase orders with specific PO coding on there so we can track the cost. We already have the revenue separated from it just going into a different account. The pharmacy softwares are really good with reconciliation.
Okay.
So when
more so than the EMR?
Yes, probably so. It comes in and it's tied directly to the prescription. So it just is, it's very easy to track the revenue side of things.
If a clinic was interested in getting started in office dispense, what would be one or two things that you would say, go research or learn more about this before you jump in?
Definitely look at your state and find out what they will allow you to do.
And did you employ legal for that? I mean, did you get a legal opinion for that?
Yes. And I think a lot of times it's very difficult sometimes to read the rules and the regulations.
I mean, I didn't go to law school.
Yeah, exactly. And understand, is it allowed? Is it not allowed? But I think for the most part, most states are pretty clear with that.
And then as far as, you chose a software, there's what, based on my research, there's not like hundreds of pharmacy softwares. There's a few main ones. You chose a software and then you just started kind of testing with it and seeing what would go through.
Yeah, it's a shift. It's a shift for the personnel in the medical practice. And I think the difficulty with that is in the medical world, we are not used to seeing such a quick response. And it's a different software. So, a lot of times we've encouraged practices to recruit a pharmacy tech who is very comfortable navigating a pharmacy software. And, they are very comfortable in that space, regardless of whether or not it's a new software. It could be just a different software, but they understand the terminology. I think that's the biggest challenge sometimes is the pharmacy conversations and discussions and just internal processes. It's a totally different vocabulary. But if you have somebody that's had some experience with that, that it kind of helps bridge the gap with the medical staff.
Well, and of the financial benefits from it and adding a staff, like that's kind of culturally, right? Like how are you bringing that person into your culture, this pharmacy tech? But sometimes we need translators. I always kind of tease from like an accounting side. Someone's like, you're talking accounting to me. I'm like, okay, I need to I need a translator to try to tell you what you're doing. So it sounds like it would be a similar experience.
I think so. I think the manager is really what's key there, right? I mean, you have to have somebody who can have the ability to merge the two together because the medical staff, they're not accustomed to having a pharmacy tech in their space. The pharmacy tech, our experience has been they have no idea really how to work within the medical
they're
world.
Generally probably from a retail type situation.
Yes.
They probably love being in a medical practice. They're like, this is Disneyland.
So much
it's
better.
Very different.
Yes. Less stress.
Well, I think in-office dispense is something, if you have the right patient mix and specialty, it's definitely something physicians should consider, especially if it's allowable in your state, right?
Yes,
like start exploring.
absolutely.
There's resources probably with their local medical association and their specialty. Generally, each specialty has a practice management division. I think that's consistently being talked at at there. But I'm glad to know that your clinics have had success with it. I know that you're helping others kind of consider in-office dispense and see if it's working for their practice. So I appreciate
it's been a great thing to incorporate into the practice.
Yep. And it's for better patient outcomes, which is really what we're all focused on.
Absolutely.
Well, Pam, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you joining us on Profits in Practice. And I know we'll have more topics to talk about in the future.
Can't wait.
Thanks for tuning in to Profits in Practice with Sarah Webb. If you found today's episode helpful, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow physician. Your financial wellness is just as important as your patient's health, and we're here to help you thrive. Connect with us via our website at webcfo.com and connect with our guests at ciiclinics.org to find out more about the consortium.